I can say a cold front coming in overnight, and then very cold temperatures. We could see those drop even more during the week.
Yeah, big changes since yesterday. We had the tie record high temperature of 87 yesterday, and now it's in the 50s with some mist and some rain that's out and about. Wind shifted to the north. Some of this Canadian air just dropped in, and today, big difference than yesterday, and even this prior week, we've had the 80s and sunshine, and that's not going to be the case, though, as we progress throughout the next few days. I want to show you where we were compared to 24 hours ago by looking at the temperature change. 46 degrees cooler right now in St. Angelo than where we were 24 hours ago at 5 p.m. 28 degrees cooler in Austin, 25 degrees colder in San Antonio, just to show you how different some of this air mass is compared to what we've been dealing with. Cloudy skies as well with this colder air in play, even some drizzle from time to time. 58 right now downtown Austin, winds out of the northeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, occasionally gusting up to 20 miles per hour. Already seeing some 40s up toward Lampasas and San Saba County. 54 in Llano County, down toward Gillespie County, 54 as well. And then east of I-35, we're starting to see a little bit of some 60s possible toward Kyle, San Marcos, and Buda. And then east of I-35 toward Milam Lee and Fayette County, even some 70s down there toward Fayette County itself. Here's what I'm tracking across the full forecast here. Colder temperatures will be in play. Overnight lows could reach freezing for a few places in the hill country this next work week. We'll talk about rain chances and how much rain could be on the way and possibly some severe weather. Full details in the next few minutes.
All right, thank you, Tommy. An update on the investigation into the mid-air collision over the Potomac River. A National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration crew says they've identified multiple underwater targets that could be additional aircraft debris. Divers investigated those targets yesterday and plan to continue that work this week. Wreckage from the site was taken to a secure airport facility for further examination and documentation. The NTSB said investigators will be looking for witness marks on the aircraft that could provide clues to the angle of the collision. Teams also recovered the plane's collision avoidance system and retrieved additional electronic systems from the Black Hawk involved. All 67 victims have already been recovered. Meanwhile, officials with the NTSB provided an update regarding the plane crash in Alaska on Thursday. The plane was on its way to Nome, Alaska when it went down. Recovery efforts are still underway. The NTSB investigators are on the ground investigating. Despite recent incidents with plane crashes and malfunctions, the NTSB chair says it's still, quote, incredibly safe to travel by air. The Alaska Department of Public Safety announced on Saturday that all 9 passengers and the pilot died in that crash. President Trump is attempting to end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented parents, but he's running into legal roadblocks, including in Massachusetts, where a federal judge in Boston is looking over the case. Matt Pritchard reports.
Differing reactions.
Emboldened, but also encouraged.
It is absolutely part of the process.
As President Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship for some takes another step through the courts. The controversial policy going before a federal judge in Boston following 2 other federal judges blocking the order due to conflicts with the Constitution. Now, legal experts anticipating a similar decision out of Massachusetts.
It doesn't take a brilliant legal mind to say that the president's executive order runs up against the 14th Amendment and is likely unconstitutional.
Judge Leo Sorokin grilling U.S. attorneys, questioning their argument that the children of non-citizens are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and as a result aren't entitled to citizenship.
Everybody in the administration knew that this would be challenged in the courts.
As supporters of the president's policies remain undeterred.
The intent was to get this before the Supreme Court so that they can determine what the intent of the 14th Amendment was.
A forward-looking attitude shared by Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell, who remains poised for this fight and those to come.
Does it feel just like a game of whack-a-mole at this point for you?
What I, along with our colleagues and our teams, do every single day is to respond in real time, demonstrate the power of government to help actual people.
And taking a live look at the Superdome right there, kind of looks like what we're seeing here in Austin, some overcast maybe. I can tell you a lot of excitement building there with less than 30 minutes away from kickoff. The Kansas City Chiefs are looking to win their 3rd Super Bowl in a row, and the Eagles are looking for a little revenge for their loss to the Chiefs 2 years ago. Now, if the Chiefs win, it'll be NFL history, and they'll be the first team ever to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. It could be a close game with a predicted point spread of only 1.5 points. Devastating wildfires in Southern California last month have left thousands of people displaced. Now one Altadena resident is using his talent to help heal his community. Jonathan Gonzalez has the story.
This looks good here.
His name is Kenny Arts.
This is permanent ink, so I can watercolor right over the top of it.
And Kenny loves to paint what he knows best.
Altadena, the best little city in the world.
It's the place he and his family have called home for nearly 40 years now.
Altadena has kind of a unique place among black folks. Altadena was one of the first places that was not doing redlining back in the day.
With a little water and a little color, Kenny adds a little life to the otherwise mundane.
Watercolors, to me, they have a voice of their own.
Like his paintings of the Altadena post office or the local hardware store.
Altadena Hardware, some of the greatest people in the world.
Today, Kenny is painting a row of small shops along Lake Avenue, except the shops are no longer there.
Yeah, it's been a tough situation, especially for so many people that have lived here for so long. This is the sort of place where I could walk down the street and run into 2 or 3 neighbors that I knew. And so that's not happening right now.
Since the Eden fire destroyed so much of Altadena, Kenny's been documenting the destruction, posting his new works next to his originals for a heartbreaking before and after.
People deal with tragedy in different ways, and this is one of the ways I deal with mine. 38 years.
For Kenny, life is imitating his art. His home was also lost in the fire.
Lost my home and all of my artwork except a few small paintings. I lost my studio at my home, but this right here is my studio.
And so Kenny dips his brush into the palette, painting the unpalatable state of his beloved Altadena.
Whether they call it the silver lining in the clouds or something, and that's what we try to do. We look for that.
He knows it may never look like it used to.
I'm just about finished now.
But he also knows it won't always look like this.
I think that light right up there is just sort of a symbol. So there's some light from above. You ready for the signature? Here we go. And my pen's not working.
San Francisco and Santa Clara County are teaming up to sue the Trump administration. The two counties say the president's recently signed an order cutting federal funding for so-called sanctuary cities and counties, which they say violates federal and state law. NBC Bay Area's Christy Smith explains.
This week, President Trump announced plans to strip federal funding from communities who offer safe haven to undocumented immigrants. They're known as sanctuary cities, and San Francisco is among them. Today, San Francisco City Attorney David Chu announced he's among those who will now sue the president over his order. San Francisco's sanctuary laws have been in place since 1989.
Sanctuary policies prioritize using our scarce local law enforcement resources to actually fight crime, not do the job of the federal government.
Santa Clara County is the co-lead in the case, part of a coalition of cities and counties that could lose billions under the president's new plan.
The federal government can't weaponize federal funding to bully us away from that commitment to trust and security.
Chu said the president's order is illegal, saying Mr. Trump doesn't have the power to cut those funds or the power to tell cities they must assist in federal immigration actions. One neighbor we spoke with was just hearing about the legal action, but told us they don't believe the country should be spending so much money on deportation.
Because they came here and they should be able to stay here,
The city attorney's office says there's a lot at stake here, noting that San Francisco receives about $3.1 billion in federal funding. That helps pay for a broad range of programs from healthcare to infrastructure.
San Francisco on our own, we receive billions of dollars of federal funding. This would be catastrophic to our city, to the services that we need to provide to our community.
The group also noted it's not the first time they've had to fight this fight.
During the first Trump administration, San Francisco and Santa Clara sued the federal government after the administration attempted to withhold federal funds from the city based on its sanctuary policies like it is trying to do today. And we won.
Going in depth, back in January of last year, Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced that since 2022, the state had bused more than 100,000 migrants to sanctuary cities around the country, like Washington, D.C. and Chicago. Our partners at the Texas Tribune report that by February of last year, the state has spent more than $148 million on those busing efforts. All right, changing gears here, talking about weather. Again, we saw the 80-like temperatures. We saw people out at Barton Springs this week, and now maybe a little too cold. There are some people who still are going to jump in, but this is a little too cold for me.
Yeah. I mean, clouds came in, much cooler temperatures. Our high was at midnight, if you can believe it. So our high today was in the low 70s for much of central Texas, but that was way in the start of the day, and since then those temperatures have gone down pretty significantly here. So let's dive right into your full forecast and talk about what's going on. We should be at 66, but the afternoon hours were in the 60s and then 50s. Kind of a raw day with winds out of the north at about 5, 10, 15 miles per hour. Compared to where we were at 5 p.m. yesterday, 41 degrees colder right now in San Saba, 28 degrees colder in Austin, just to show you that it is a night and day difference for the second half of your weekend. Current temperature is 58 in downtown, 56 in Williamson County, in the 40s in Lampasas and San Saba County, and east of I-35, some mid-60s toward Fayette County. Here's your evening planner, 57 by 5 p.m., by 7, 57 as well, 54 at 9. So temps are only going to go down about a few degrees or so. Here's the next 24 hours. Lows will just be in the upper 40s, low 50s, and highs, well, in the mid to upper 50s. No big temperature changes until your Tuesday. Find your city here for high temperatures for your Monday, east of I-35, maybe some low 60s in the southeastern parts of our viewing area, up toward Milam County, 57 in Cameron, 53 in Georgetown and Round Rock, 53 in Lampasas, and 57 in Austin. Rain chances will be elevated, especially Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's where we're watching the chance for some showers and even maybe some thunderstorms. Our high resolution model throughout the day, Sunday into Monday. By tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy skies, a little bit of drizzle from time to time, just like how it was we were dealing with yesterday in today's forecast in the overnight hours. Then a little bit of rain begins to build in Tuesday into Wednesday. Here we could see a round or two of some showers, downpours, and thunderstorms, especially through the overnight hours. First, here's Tuesday to the afternoon and evening, and then a little bit more heavy rain will continue to build in from our southwest and then clear up by Wednesday morning itself. So I think Wednesday will be mostly dry. Just Tuesday to Tuesday night, that's when the most amount of rain will fall. Big picture beyond Wednesday, could get a little bit more shower activity for your Thursday for our eastern counties, as well as maybe Saturday and Sunday as our next storm system does arrive. So bottom line is it's going to be an active pattern with multiple days of some rain on end. Now, it's not all going to fall at once, but 1/4 of an inch to an inch most likely for the bulk of our viewing area. I think east of our counties toward the coast could get close to 1 to 2 inches, and then farther west towards St. Angelo, 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. But I think a solid 1/2 inch is a guarantee as of now through next weekend. Tonight, 49 degrees, cloudy skies, and these temperatures aren't really going to drop too much during the overnight hours, and maybe some patchy fog and light drizzle will persist throughout the overnight. Winds will be out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, just in the upper 50s, right like it is right now, we'll have some drizzle and some cooler temperatures throughout the day compared to where we should be, which is in the mid-60s, and winds will be out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your first warning weather, 7-day forecast. Winds could shift to the south here, get a little bit more moisture with some of the instability, hence the thunderstorms. Next cold front arrives Wednesday into Thursday, back down to the low 50s by Thursday itself. Upper 70s on Saturday, but then our next cold front moves through again, back down to 63 by next Sunday. So keep that umbrella and rain jacket nearby because multiple days of rain are in the forecast.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Hi, good evening. Kind of the regular season Super Bowl for the Longhorns, taking on South Carolina for the second time this season. Only SEC team. They'll play twice. They were handled in Columbia a month ago, trying to get back on top and a piece of the SEC lead. They've won 7 in a row since then. Packed, sold out Moody Center, Vic Schaefer's club. Unlike the first round, Dawn Staley, with their Eagle sweatshirt, did not come out and get punched in the face. It was a rough one for Madison Booker in the first game, 3-19, but she knocks down the jumper. Then Rory Harmon facilitating, Jordan Lee in transition. Texas up by 10, middle of the second. Harmon a little bit fired up, and then it is Jacqueline Winantanda getting the start again for the injured Aaliyah Moore. Kyla Oldacre, huge off the bench. Longhorns kept holding off South Carolina, led by 9 at the half. Gamecocks never have led to this point. Then the three from Tahina Pow, and it's a 1-point game, but she was just 2 of 9 from the field. Here's Oldacre again, breaking up a 53 or a 51-all tie, and then Texas up by 2. The defense, Oldacre to Booker, and check out Booker, a little crossover, a runner, slips on her knees. Is she hurt? Looks like she's in pain. She is okay. Knocked down the free throw, 3-point play, and the Longhorns up by 3 again. But then the jumper right there, and Mylesia Full-Wiley makes it a 1-point game. Every time the Longhorns needed an answer, they did, and that was huge from Oldacre, who scored 13, puts it to 5. Then a 3-point game. How about some defense? Shea Holly, a block shot. South Carolina then down by 2, looking for the tie. Jordan Lee forcing the shot over the backboard, so South Carolina has to foul. Rory Harmon has been in this position before, and she knocks down the big one right there to take it to a 2-possession game, and there it is. 47-game regular season SEC streak is snapped in Austin, Texas.
When you sit there, and this is why we do what we do as coaches, to watch them fight, their competitive spirit, their toughness. These are things that we talk about all the time, but we also talk about walking the walk. It's easy to talk it. It's another thing to walk it.
That was a really competitive game. It was fun to play and be in that atmosphere with that many fans. One of the best venues in the Moody Center. So, and 2 of the best coaches in women's sports right now.
My confidence was up. Just pretty much owned it because I know no one can stop me. I can only stop myself.
She's a monster. She's a monster in the post. We got a monster over here. Indeed.
High praise from one of the best players in the game. No breaks, though. It's on to Lexington, Kentucky. Number 11, UK, before a home game against Sunday. The Kentucky game is on Thursday. Then LSU comes to town. LSU beat Tennessee, so it's a 3-way tie. Texas, South Carolina, and LSU. The men coming off that loss to Vanderbilt. They're back home against an Alabama team Tuesday. Could be number 1 in the polls when they come out tomorrow. Number 1 ranked Texas softball team trying to close their opening weekend, going 6-0. 2 in Lafayette, Louisiana Friday, 2 in Beaumont yesterday, and then today in Huntsville they beat Tulsa 4-2 in the morning, trying to close it out against host Sam Houston State to take 6 for 6 on the weekend. Longhorns already up 2-0 when they start knocking in some runs. First run was a bases loaded walk, second a sac fly. Caden Henry makes it 3-0, and then that smash makes it 4-0. Longhorns then turn things over to the long ball. Reese Atwood, her second home run of the weekend. That just a laser out, and they busted open, but they get a little bit more. Victoria Hunter, she's got 2 hits on the weekend. Both left the yard. That one makes it 8-1. Tegan Cavan with her second win of the weekend as the Longhorns win it 8-3. They're back home this weekend to open up their home slate.
All right, a live look at the Caesars Superdome. Saw a lot of videos from in New Orleans. A lot of people excited for this game kicking off here very soon. Speaking of weather, looks a little similar to what we see here in Austin.
Yeah, they're actually even getting some showers and some thunderstorms along the Louisiana coast there in a bit. But thankfully, for us, no thunderstorms here in Central Texas. May not be the case, though, by Tuesday into Wednesday when we could see some rain returning. Here's your 7-day forecast. A little bit cooler tomorrow. 10% chance of some drizzle building back in and then back up to around 50-60% chance of rain, especially Tuesday night into Wednesday. Then we should cool back down a little bit on Thursday, but next Saturday back up into the upper 70s when our next storm system arrives. So busy, active weather pattern is ahead.
It's going to say a roller coaster of weather this week. The temperature's going up and down, but I'll tell you what, I hope it's a roller coaster of a game because it's always fun to watch a good game. Speaking of the game, go along.
Time to watch a big game. You ready?
All right, set.
Let's go.
Touchdown! All right, touchdown. Hope you enjoy the game.